afternoon, evening. I guess technically it's evening for me. Sonder fam. I am coming to you from Aurora, Colorado. My name is Maya, and I am going to guide you through tonight's August monthly setup. So we are getting ready to prepare for the next month. I'm still kind of in shock that the summer for me is kind of over just because I work for a school district, and next week at this time, the kids will have been back, right? All of our teachers, we had new teachers come back last Friday or come in last Friday, and we had all of our teachers come back today. So the schools are rocking and rolling and getting ready for kids. But I know for some of us, it still feels like summer. And I feel like August still kind of feels like a little bit like summer to me. And so we're going to dig in. Yeah, Kelly's saying our schools don't start till September 1st. I know a lot of places. Jennifer Krippner, who is here with me tonight, who is kind of co-facilitating and helping out in the chat, she was saying they don't start until usually like after Labor Day, which I feel like seems like a more civilized time to start school. But you know, we do what we can, right? Oh, did Denver? Yeah, the teachers in Denver started today. So but we can still embrace that idea of summer, embrace that idea of August still maybe being a little bit summery, right? So couple things I want to point out for you. Make sure that you set your chat to everyone, that little blue bar. And if you're on a phone, a lot of times it keeps defaulting back to host and panelist, which is super obnoxious, I know. But if it does that, then the only people who see what you write are myself and Jennifer. Your Sonder fam members don't get to see it. So make sure you switch that back as you're sharing in the chat. And speaking of sharing in the chat, remember that this is your time, right? This is your time to work on your journal. So some people love to spend the time in the chat, and they are reading the chat and they're chatting with people in the chat, right? And they're kind of making notes about what they're going to do in their journal, and then they do the journal after the social. Absolutely fine. Some people spend a lot of time nose in journal, really digging in, and ignore the chat. Totally can do that as well, right? And some people kind of do a mix. And that's why you'll often notice we offer, I think we had 4 different monthly setup times. So that kind of gives you a chance sometimes to maybe one time you hang out in the chat and one time you work in the journal, right? And so it's totally up to you kind of doing what you would like. The other thing, if we have any new folks, this is your first social that you're joining, remember that the only person that's on camera is myself, right? So there's no cameras for you. There's no microphones for you. So other things can be happening in the background, and you don't have to worry about anybody seeing any of that. It is only myself that you will be seeing. And I did also put up this little thing from our Silk and Sonder Instagram page. If you don't follow Silk and Sonder on Instagram, highly recommend you do that. They always have lots of fun little tips and tricks and those kinds of things that you can use. But they had the first 3 words you see will be your August affirmation. So maybe you found words like wonder or kindness or grace or serenity. I was just kind of looking at it really quick to see what words I found. So lucky, peaceful, or peace. I guess it's just peace. So I like a good word search. So those are kind of fun. So I recommend to people as we're going through this, I try to spend a decent amount of time on the slides so you can kind of remember what's on there. But I recommend that you take a screenshot or grab your phone and take a picture so that you can remember what's on some of these slides, because I'm going to give you lots of examples for things that folks have done, our real life Sonder fam members. The other thing I like to point out is if you're new, this can sometimes seem a little much, right? It's like there's all these things to fill out and all this stuff to do. You don't have to do everything, right? Again, do what speaks to you. Do what feels good to you. Do what feels right. Maybe you just fill in a couple of these boxes or a couple of these little lines when we go through some of these sections. And then next month you do more. Or maybe you fill out more in a week or something, right? So again, kind of give yourself the grace to really think about what this looks like for you as you're spending time with us in this social, right? And just a few community guidelines. We like to make sure that this is a very safe and supportive space for all of our Sonder family members. So we ask that you're kind and courteous to both yourself and others. No promotions or spam. We respect everyone's privacy, no hate speech or bullying. We limit those repetitive product and accessory questions. It's fine to ask people like, what pens do you use that don't bleed through, those kinds of things. The best place to ask those questions, though, honestly, is in the app, in our Sonder app, because then you can get folks can put lots of links and those kinds of things and pictures of what they use. If you have any customer care inquiries, like you need to change billing information, or you haven't gotten your August journal yet, or you need to change your address, that kind of thing, those all go to hello@silkandsonder.com. Jennifer and I don't have access to your accounts. We can't look you up. We can't tell you, kind of when the next billing is or any of those kinds of things. So just send that to hello@silkandsonder.com. Just remember that they are a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 group, and they are Pacific Coast time. And you'll notice a lot of times when we list things, we list Pacific time, because that's where our headquarters is. So just sometimes you need to give them a little bit of time. Also, I like to point out, if you've got Gmail, a lot of times our Silk and Sonder emails go into the promotions tab. You kind of see those different tabs up at the top on Gmail, so make sure you're checking in there. And of course, the spam filter in lots of other email programs likes to gobble up Silk and Sonder, so make sure you've added them to your contacts or added that to kind of the white list, so that they are added in so that you're getting those emails. And then ultimately, these socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community. And we have a fabulous community here, right? So creative and supportive and fun folks. But remember, ultimately, you're responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. So if there's ever anything that's like not your jam that we're doing, feel free to work on something else. If you're like, I'm not going to do the intentions page, I'm just going to color, totally up to you, right? If the music I'm playing isn't your jam, you can always mute that. You can always mute me. And we have the closed captioning on, so you can turn that on so you can kind of see what I'm saying and just kind of work at your pace. So again, these really are for you to spend this time and see what's there. Oh, Nicole, you're so sweet. She says, I would never mute Maya or her music. So we'll see how you feel about today's music, but we'll get into that here in a second. So as you've seen, this month's theme is freedom, which is really kind of a fun idea. Just this idea of freedom. What does it mean to you? And I found a few quotes that I really have enjoyed, right? The idea of the secret of happiness is freedom. The secret of freedom is courage. Also, freedom is nothing but a chance to be better. I think that's a nice way to think about it. And then may we think of freedom not as the right to do as we please, but as the opportunity to do what is right. And I think that's a really strong message. I think sometimes when we think of freedom, we might think of freedom as just like, it's a free for all, right? Do whatever, no consequences, no whatever. And I personally don't think of freedom that way. I do think of freedom as the opportunity to do what's right, the opportunity being free to do what I need to do for myself, what I want to do for myself. And then the Stephen Hawking quote, my advice to other disabled people would be concentrate on things your disability doesn't prevent you doing well, and don't regret the things that it interferes with. So thinking about that idea of freedom and what does freedom mean for you, and what does that look like? So these are all fun quotes. And when you go through the journal, you will see all sorts of other fun quotes on each weekly page. So it's always kind of fun to see maybe how other people have come up with this idea of freedom, right? So if you haven't had a chance, please be sure to spend just a few moments at some point this month reading Meha's letter for us. It is each month, our founder, Meha, will write a little letter that talks about kind of what she's thinking of when she thinks of freedom, how or the theme, right? So this month it's freedom and how she's kind of going about that. So she kind of talked about this idea of August really being this no structure, no routine, no limits. Again, she probably did not have to go back to school in August, right? But kind of that feeling of freedom, and the travel. She talks about travel, and I do have a few trips coming up in August, even though school is back in session. So taking time for travel, and really thinking about this theme of freedom as being layered and being different for each person, right? And what freedom means to me, it could be very different from what freedom means to you. And so I think that's important to remember that anytime any of the facilitators and we talk about freedom, when we talk about how we're perceiving it, it's absolutely our personal filters, right? And so you may see it very differently. And that's why we love the chat, right? So you can kind of talk about what freedom means for you and talk about this idea of authentic self. And I love that she says, I hope that August is a month of liberation, growth, and the joy of spreading your wings. You were born to soar. And I love that idea of soaring. Definitely, the word soaring definitely invokes that idea of freedom. So here's our agenda for tonight. And I will remind you that our monthly setups are a little bit longer. They're an hour and 15 minutes instead of just an hour like our other socials. But if you need to leave for any reason, no worries. We record these and they will be posted up on the YouTube link that Jennifer will give you so you can always watch them again later. So we are going to first do a little opening activity. We're going to reflect on July. We're going to set our August intentions. We're going to work on our mood tracker and we're going to work on our habit tracker, right? So I always use these two little cartoons by this artist whose name is The Latest Kate. And for two reasons. The first one says there's room for you here just as you are. And I want you to know that, right? However you're coming to this, whether you're in a good mood or a bad mood, or you're stressed out, or you've been feeling irritable, or you've been feeling happy, right? Any of those things, there's room for you here just as you are. So share joys, share celebrations, share things that have made you happy. And you can also share those bumps in life, right? Those things that are frustrating, those things that have been stressful, those things that maybe you want to just kind of vent a little bit. And that's absolutely fine because there's room for you here just as you are. The other one says the way you feel matters and no emotion you feel is bad or unworthy. So just remember that. No one can tell you you shouldn't feel sad or you shouldn't be mad or you should be happy or whatever, right? Our emotions are our emotions and we're here for all the feels, right? As we kind of go through and work on setting up our month of August. So the first thing we're going to do, and if you've been with us for a while, you know that we have been doing this little activity for our monthly setups because I think it's kind of a fun way to dig into that theme. So this is not actually in your journal this month. Some months it is, but this month it's not. So you're going to find a blank page, or you could also use page 3, which has the little definition where it says to me, freedom means, and you could use that little section to work in there. And what I want you to do is to think of some things that come to mind when you think of the word freedom. Don't second guess yourself, just write them down. Try to come up with at least 7 words or phrases that describe what freedom means to you. Now see if you can work it into a poem where the first letter of each line is a letter from the word freedom. You can do sentences, words, sets of words for each line, kind of whatever works for you. So you could write it out like this, right? And this is what it looks like often when we have it in the actual journal, right? And here's some examples of things that different folks have done. The bottom 2 are examples that people who attended some of our earlier monthly setup socials have done. The top right one is our fabulous facilitator, Bailey, one that she wrote. And then we have a couple other from some other folks who use this. You could also do, it doesn't have to necessarily be the first letter of the word. It could be just a letter anywhere in that word as you're doing it. So it looks kind of more like a crossword puzzle as you're working on that. And it could be just one word. It could be a sentence. It could be a set of words. It could kind of divide itself up, kind of whatever works for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a little bit of music. I'll let you work on that. And then we'll check back in and see how things are going. Feel free to share in the chat if you'd like to, what your acrostic poem looks like. And we'll check back in here in just a few moments. Okay, so how did we do? I know sometimes this one can take a little bit more time as you're thinking and also as you're typing. I love Jennifer just popped hers in there, which is beautiful. I love that. Find the spark within your heart, a light to guide your way. Release the doubts that cloud your mind, let inspiration stay. Embrace the whispers of your soul, each thought a precious gem, every idea a seed of gold. Oops, plant. Oh, dang, my chat's jumping up and down. Plant them and tend to them. Dreams and visions, wild and free, unleash your inner voice. Own your journey, write your tale with courage, make your choice. Mirror of your life reflects, oops, the beauty you create, freedom in your thoughts, a masterpiece of fate. So Jennifer, that was lovely. She said she worked on it earlier and had more time. I was like, did you do that in that short amount of time? I love it. And this is, again, this is super fun to just kind of brainstorm some words and just spend some time kind of wordsmithing. I know it really helps a lot of people kind of help themselves kind of dig into that theme. Sarah said her 7 words or phrases were sobriety, dreaming, justice, being present in the moment, individuality, financial security, and autonomy. I love that. I was trying to think, there were some other people that were kind of talking about what freedom was meaning to them and how they were kind of looking at that theme. Oh my gosh, and the chat is so crazy. With the updates lately from Zoom, it like doesn't let me hold anything. It like keeps every time people put things in the chat, it like pops around. So I apologize if I'm um kind of going back and forth, but I loved there were several people I think that kind of talked about visiting historical landmarks. And somebody I think was going to Colonial Williamsburg soon. And Maggie said that she's recently been visiting a lot of historical landmarks like Liberty Bell Museum of the American Revolution and the changes in freedom in the US over the time. So I love that idea. And I think it's going to be a really fun, a fun month to kind of dig into this idea of freedom. Katie has free to be myself, relax my mind, exist authentically every day brings new opportunities to come, where did it go? Not skipped, to come out of my shell. I love that idea. That is beautiful. So these are so fun, kind of fun to read. And if you are feeling like you would like to share, please do so in Sonder Club. You've probably seen some people sharing these, and I think they're just always kind of fun to see. Stephanie has a fun ending of hers, finally ready to release the enslavements of my soul and emancipate my desires and dreams, opening my heart to mastery of my destiny. That is like so powerful. I love that, Stephanie. So super fun, great words, very strong. Yeah, I was going to say we keep saying we need to make like a book of everybody's kind of acrostic poems for the year to kind of put them together. So super fun to see. So thanks for spending a little bit of time and for sharing those with us there in the chat for folks to read. So let's dive in to our monthly planner of August. This was from 2023. You can see what the theme was in 2023 was tranquility, right? So kind of interesting difference from freedom. But we're going to go to our July reflections page, which is on page 8. And we always want to spend time every month just really reflecting back on what we did the previous month, right? Like what kinds of things did we do? What did we accomplish? What were some challenges? So this section lets us talk about our wins for July, our challenges, our favorite moments, and then spend some time thinking about what we want to start, stop, and continue as we roll into the coming month. So this is what that page looks like, right? And so our wins are maybe something that you did, something you accomplished, something that makes you smile, something that makes you happy. I often will put in if I finished any knitting projects or if I finished any books, those kinds of things, because I feel like those are kind of accomplishments. Our challenges are things that didn't go right, maybe something out of our control, stumbling blocks, frustration. Mine has been well, July was a very challenging month for me. I was somebody rear-ended me It wasn't a bad accident, but it did smudge up my car. Very frustrating. And then later on, I have had a really bad arthritis flare up that has been challenging for this entire month. So I've been trying to do a lot of physical therapy and get that back, but that definitely has been a challenge and kind of um, put the kibosh on a lot of things that I had wanted to do this month. So a little frustrating. And then the favorite moments are just that, right? Things that were a favorite. And sometimes the wins are the favorite moments. One of my favorite moments from July is we went to Alamo Draft House movie theater, and they do movie parties. And we saw Purple Rain in the theater, and it was kind of a movie party. So they gave you fun little, like a blow up guitar and little purple glasses, and we got to watch that. So that was definitely one of my favorite moments from July. And so if you're trying to remember what you did, if you're like me, sometimes you're like, what did I do in the month of July? Maybe you want to look back at your rosebud thorns from the weekly spread. If you have been a member with us and you've been working, you have your July journal. Maybe you want to use your phone to look through your calendar and your photo reel. I have found that like skimming through my photos in the phone really has a lot of is very enlightening about what I was taking pictures of and what I was doing for the month. So that's kind of a fun way to think of that. And then the start, stop, and continue at the bottom. So that start are maybe some things that are not being done, but you want to start doing them. Things that you're going to begin doing to get better results. Maybe they're things worth trying or experimenting with, things you want to kind of start doing for this upcoming month. And then things you want to stop, or maybe things that aren't working or things that aren't helping. So one of the things I decided that often does cause an arthritis flare up is eating a lot of sugar, right? So a lot of that added sugar stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to stop with the added sugar stuff. So I've been really pretty whole foods for the month, which is definitely helping. And it helps a lot of things, right? Not just my poor knees. Maybe it's things that are impeding you or aren't practical, things that aren't delivering desired results, things you dislike, things that are no longer serving you. How often do you do something and you realize, like, why am I doing this, right? I just do it because I've always done it. Maybe I want to stop doing that. Maybe I don't need to do that anymore. And then things we want to continue are maybe things that have been working really well for us, things we want to keep. We want to keep doing to see if they're worthwhile, things you like or things you need. So here's some examples from some things that other folks have done. Again, just kind of listing out, it's just a really nice place to just give yourself that time to reflect on the month, the things that were good, the things that were frustrating. Got some more, here's some examples of the start, stop, and continue. So, maybe doing more walking, stop wasting time on the phone, continue my Silk and Sonder practice. Maybe I want to stop getting lost on the phone. Do you see there's often a theme of people want to kind of break up with their phones a little bit because I feel like they sometimes spend quite a bit of time as they work on that, right? They spend more time on the phone than they want to. And then also thinking about, I like the one down here on the bottom where they have, what are they going to start? They're going to start going back to the gym. Why? I've been getting sick a lot. How are they going to do this? Committing to 1 day a week to start and not overdoing it. So I love that idea of kind of the what, why, and how for each one of those is kind of a nice way to think about that. And then you can also think if you're thinking of the start stop, I feel X and Y because of A or B, and I want to feel Z. So that's kind of a fun way to kind of walk through and see what that looks like. And then there's also, I popped in here just from Silk and Saunders, again, the Instagram page about those thinking traps. If you've taken our thinking traps assessment, you can kind of see, here's some things maybe I want to stop. Like one of the things I need to stop is the should statements. I'm very bad about, like, I should be doing this or I should be doing that, right? So that's something that I definitely always tell myself I want to stop. I want to stop with the shoulds, right? So what I will do is I will cycle through these so you can get a chance to take a look at them. You can kind of think of this page. Please feel free to share in the chat. I saw Kate says she had a lot of favorite moments, probably because it was my birthday month. Well, happy birthday, Kate. It sounds like you had a great month. I'm so glad you were able to kind of capture those things here. Allison said her win was finishing her master's degree. Yay, congratulations. As well as her challenge, right? So sometimes the thing that was our win is also our challenge, right? And it can also be our favorite moment, right? So sometimes something can be all three of those. So I love that. And congratulations for graduating. So awesome. Um, Someone also put stop chasing family or people to like you, right? So maybe stop people pleasing. So feel free to, again, share in the chat. I think this is always kind of such an inspiring moment. I'll play a little bit of music and then we'll continue on. Okay, I'm glad you all are enjoying the fun music that I found for tonight. And hopefully you've had some time to really kind of give yourself that July reflection time to really think about the month. I think sometimes we have a tendency to like hurry, 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 hurry through things, and we just miss out on really taking that time to reflect back. The other thing that's really good is if you save these journals or if you scan them, right? If you need to, like for space, you can't save a bunch of paper journals, but you scan them. It's really nice at the end of the year to be able to look back at each month's reflections page to really kind of see like what happened this year, right? Like what kinds of things did I do? Because if you're like me, I have a tendency to think like nothing happened or I didn't get anything done. And having this is lovely. Yeah, Michelle, I was just realizing because I've been a member of Silk and Sonder since 2020, right? And so I have a lot of journals, and I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to have to scan these and go ahead and recycle because it's getting to be a little too much. So we'll see how that goes. But I definitely want to save these pages that I've worked on because it is nice to be able to go back and look. So definitely recommend that, right? So thank you all for sharing in the chat, kind of those reflections, those start, stop, and continue. And again, this is something you can keep working on for a while, as you go throughout the month and things help you kind of jog your memory, right? So let's turn over to page 9, which is going to be setting our intentions for this coming month. And again, this is really a good time to really think about how you want to feel for the next month, how you want to show up in these different areas of your life. And I'll show you, we give you 6 different example areas of your life to work on, but I'm going to show you some different ways that you can maybe repurpose some of these or change them up, again, to make them fit with your life. So one of the things that you can do is you can use that theme of freedom to set your intentions for these different areas. Maybe you want to focus on an area like self-love or self-talk. Maybe you want to use a song or lyrics, right? A lot of you were talking about some of these songs and being inspired by music. I'm definitely music is kind of a big part of my life. And so definitely I've used song lyrics to help me set my intentions. And then I make a playlist, right? And then I have a fun playlist to listen to for the month. You can use stickers, you can use colors. And then, yeah, Taylor says, I like to write my intentions as prayers. So I'm going to show you lots of different ways that people have done these things. Maybe you want to do one thing you want to let go of and one thing you want to start doing in these areas. So here's some different ways that people have repurposed these 6 areas, right? Because again, we have spiritual health, personal life, physical health, key relationships, money management, and professional goals. And those are just suggestions, right? Do not think you are stuck with those categories. Also, do not think you have to fill in every single box. Again, like I mentioned, if you're new or you're feeling like the month of August is going to be a little intense for you, maybe you want to focus on 1 or 2 of these areas and then fill in stickers for the rest. Absolutely fine, right? I promise. None of us are going to show up at your door and ask to see your journal and tell you that you didn't do this right. Like that's not a thing. We're not going to do this. There's no right or wrong. This is your journal. So that's funny. Taylor's saying she feels like I'm, excuse me, pointing her out because it is National Eye Exam Month. So I did also put some different like national month things. Some people like to do that as kind of a theme for some of the areas. Excuse me. We have there's a lot of forest fires in Colorado right now in the north, and we're also getting the smoke from Canada from their fires. So I've definitely noticed I've been a little froggy, so I apologize for that. So you can see different things you could change some of these to, right? We could do, instead of spiritual health, we could do mental health, emotional health, or just connection. Instead of physical health, maybe again, here we want to do mental health or heart health or brain health. I think I need to do knee health, joint health, maybe. Money management, time management, home management. Personal life could be creative life, home life, crafting life. I put home life in there twice. Whoops, well, a couple extra there. Key relationships could be family relationships, work relationships, community relationships. Professional goals might be learning goals, creative goals, gardening goals, vacationing goals, right? And that the vacationing goals might go good with National Family Fun Month. So that might be a fun way to kind of take a look at that. So here's some examples of things that folks have done in the past, writing down different things. The one in the middle is a new one from someone who again came to one of the earlier socials, and they put, notice up at the top, it kind of has that, what gives me freedom. And so for each area, they wrote down a thing that gives them freedom. And then on the sides, they kind of wrote, here are the things I'm going to do to help me experience, or to help me have that feeling of freedom. Right. And remember, intentions are gentle, right? They don't imply you've been doing something wrong and now you're determined to be good, right? This is really is just, they're gentle reminders of, this is how you want to be. These are things you want to embrace. These are things you want to feel as you go through the month. The one in the middle here is another person. They like to divide theirs up and have, I'm going to choose this and I'm going to release this, right? So they kind of have it divided in half. Another person, a really good idea, they use sticky notes while they're thinking of this, because that way they don't feel like they have to commit to the journal quite yet. They're going to kind of write it on sticky notes and then take some time and think about it later, right? And then some people like to, again, incorporate art. We have some very talented people with lovely drawings. They, they gave themselves some space for reflection. Sometimes people like to do it a little scrapbook style, right? That with pictures and some phrases there. Again, people who have changed those intentions to fit their life. So they have home and garden management, they have learnings instead of the professional goals. So again, it's kind of what works for you. And here are some more examples. The one on the left, they changed all the categories to fit, right? They changed all those intention categories. So now they have awareness, connection, gratitude, compassion, impermanence, and acceptance, and what they're going to think about that as they were moving into the month. This person said, I start the categories with feel and then think of 3 ways to achieve that goal. So they want to feel inspired and flow. So they're going to work on drafting the Grand Canyon chapter and practicing a new writing style, and some habits they're going to do, read, write, and tidy, to help them with that feeling. So that's kind of a fun way, to kind of go through and see what those look like. Yeah, these are, and again, the thing I love about these examples is these are all real examples. These aren't AI generated. These are HI, human intelligence generated instead of artificial intelligence, right? These are all our Sonder fam who have come up with fabulous ways that they make these work for themselves. The one on the left, I loved it. She was in the social with Bailey and I think that was on Sunday morning. And she was like, you know what? I don't really like to write words. I like to just use up my stickers because I have so many stickers and I want to make sure, that I have some things in there. So she's got lots of fun stickers in there. Oh, Jennifer, I love that. SI, Sonder Intelligence, right? That's what we have here in the chat is our SI. And then another person who used that theme of freedom to kind of tie in what that looks like as they work on their intentions for each of these areas. So again, I'm going to cycle through, I think that was the last one. Let me make sure. Yep. So I'm going to cycle through these, let you take a look at them, think about what works for you. Again, if you're not quite sure, use some sticky notes so that you can give yourself some time. Sometimes it's hard when like I'm chattering or you're talking in the chat or listening to music. So give yourself some time to really kind of think about, and again, maybe you only want to focus on 2 of these this month. Maybe you want to focus on 1. Let this be your decision. Don't feel like you should. Don't feel like you have to fill all these in. This is, again, for you. So I'll be quiet, let you work on that, and we'll check back in here in just a few moments. All right. So how did we do? Did we come up with some intentions, hopefully for this coming month? And again, I like to remind folks, because I know I do this myself, I spend all this time on these intentions and then I forget to look at them again throughout the month. So what I do is on my weekly setup, on my weekly pages, I always put in there one of the habits and activities, or as I accidentally called them one time, habities. I always put in there, look back at my intentions a couple times a week so that I could kind of remember, what did I want this month to look like? And you might get to the middle of the month and think, well, like that's not really, like that intention's not really doing it for me, right? That's not really my thing. Change it, right? Get some tape, you can scribble something out, and then you can always update it with something that's going to work for you. So hopefully you've got some ideas for how you want to move forward in these areas for the month of August. So let us now move into our trackers. We have two different trackers here. We're going to first work on our mood tracker, and then we're going to work on our habit trackers. So I had a little quote in here that I thought was really important to mention to folks. Freedom is not worth having if it does not include the freedom to make mistakes, right? And so I really think that that definitely resonates with me, right? Because sometimes we don't give ourselves the freedom to make mistakes, the freedom to scribble things out, the freedom to say, oh, no, I don't like that, right? Never mind. I'm going to kind of scribble that and do something else. So just keep that in mind as we're working through the month with this idea of freedom. But our mood tracker on page 10 really gives us a chance to maybe understand trends and how we're feeling. Excuse me. Maybe we want to notice and make some shifts. It also can help us bring tools into what works when positive moods show up for us. And just sometimes just the tracking. Have you ever said like, oh, I'm always angry, or I'm always sad, or I'm always tired? But when you actually start tracking, you realize like, oh, that's not actually true, right? I sometimes tend to overgeneralize. So the tracker can kind of help with that. So you've probably noticed, if you've been with us for a while, that we have two different styles for the tracker. Some months we have the little hexagons, and some month we have the circles. And the circles are for months with 31 days, and the hexagons are on months that have fewer than 31 days. So our 30-day and of course February, right? So if you're wondering what the rhyme and reason is, it's not every other month. It literally is fewer than 31 days, you get hexagons. 31 days, you get the circle. Yes, and we definitely, Megan says hashtag team hexagon. So we definitely have people who are more hexagon fans versus circle fans. That's okay. Just know that this month we got a circle, right? And next month we'll have hexagons. So the way that you can kind of think about setting this up is you can choose some feelings. So maybe 2 to 3 negative feelings, a neutral feeling, and a couple positive feelings to track. You can focus on that theme of freedom for the month. Maybe you want to fill in every emotion that came up that day or whatever emotion was strongest. One of the things I've done is I've tracked my mood at noon. Just because I have a noon reminder on my Fitbit that tells me it's time to take noon supplements. So I just kind of did a little habit stacking, as James Clear would have us do. And so I take my supplements and I track my mood at noon. So again, you could kind of do it whatever way works for you. We have the feelings wheel, the mood wheel, to maybe if you need some different words other than maybe the basic ones that you're using. Yeah. So Aisha noticed that the sticker pack this month had a boo-boo. If you do the monthly sticker pack, they did hexagons instead of the circles, but the hexagons still fit. So it's kind of for best of both worlds, right? You get, for the team hexagons are going to be excited about the stickers, and the team circle are going to be excited about the actual circle on there. So here's some examples of things that people have done. And you can also see, like this one in the top right, she actually used the hexagons to do the tracking, and it works in there, it fits, right? Yeah, and Sarah's saying, I cycle through several an hour sometimes. Right there with you, right? And that's why I kind of try to do it like at the noon time to go through with that. Creative, optimistic, happy, joyful, different kinds of ways different feelings, moods to track there. Here's some other things that people have done to track multiple moods with all the different colors. The one on the right is beautiful. It's a little more than maybe what I would do, but it's lovely. Like I just wanted to show, be able to show you our super creative, artistic Sonder fam who do beautiful, beautiful things. And then again, here's some other examples of things that people have done. Like the one person said, I treat this like the movie Inside Out, where my bubbles get complex and have different shades throughout the day. So if you want to track multiple ones, you can pop those in there. You can also repurpose this. Some people are like, I don't really want to track moods, right? So Bailey, one of our other facilitators, has done anxiety tracker, right? So she tracks her anxiety levels. So this is one of the ways that she has done that. And here's another example of the anxiety tracker in the hexagons so that you can kind of see what that looks like. Some people have tracked stress, right? And then they also have ideas to de-escalate, so to get rid of the stress that they could do. So if they're in a 1 to 3, they do body scan or yin yoga. 4 to 6, they do box breathing or an ice pack trick, which I think is like where you can kind of put an ice pack on part of your body and focus on the cold to help you relieve the stress. Some people do blood glucose or symptoms tracking. I know Jennifer mentioned she will track migraines in this page, so she can kind of look back. Book trackers, workout trackers, rate the day, activity trackers, um, lots of different ways to go through. Again, another book tracker, a mood booster tracker. So they're tracking the things that they use to boost their mood and what they did to boost their mood. And Bailey did a replenishment tracker. And so she has her examples are on the left. And I thought that's kind of a fun thing. I like that idea. So I'm going to try the replenishment tracker. So mine's on the right. So I have things that help me feel replenished. So I have things like read, and that says audiobooks count. If you're wondering what that says, it kind of got cut off. Time with friends and family, laughing, knitting, music, and time outside. And then I marked the weekends. And then I also marked when we're taking some trips. So we've got a trip to Portland and Seattle. And then we'll be going to DC and Ocean City in August. So I kind of put that in there and used some fun Disney Princess and the Frog stickers that I had. So I will cycle through these. I will play some music. As always, I will let you kind of take a look. Again, feel free to share in the chat. I saw some folks were already kind of sharing, what they were doing. Sarah said, I picked insecure, lonely, irritable / annoyed, motivated, proud, and peaceful and content. Oh, I saw somebody said they use it as a vegetable tracker, so they track their veggies. Kelly said she does that. That's a great idea. I love that. You could track fruits and veggies. Make sure you get those servings in there. So yeah, so I'll just play a little bit of music and we'll see what folks do, and then we'll keep moving on. All right. So nice job. I saw lots of folks really kind of reflecting and thinking about what they were going to put in this. Are they going to use it for moods? Are they going to use it to track, something else? And I really appreciated someone had said they tried to do all positive moods one time, and it just felt like it wasn't really reflecting real life. And I did that one time too. I thought, well, I'm just going to focus on positive and I'm just going to track the positive moods. And then I realized it felt really forced and awkward and it didn't feel real. So I totally agree with you there. And maybe for some people it works really well. Again, like this really is totally up to you. And I will be honest, I spend a lot of time sometimes setting these up and then I track it for like maybe 4 or 5 days and then I like don't for the rest of the month. And that's okay, right? Sometimes it's just the idea of tracking different things, but I'm looking forward to tracking this idea of replenishment and what kinds of things I can do to help replenish myself and have myself feel that sense of freedom, right? So lots of great ideas there. So the last thing we're going to work on here in our last little bit of time together is our habit tracker over on page 11. And this one here, we maybe want to start doing some new habits, maybe want to stop doing some things, stop doing habits that we have that are not serving us. Maybe we want to continue the habits that are bringing us value. So again, we can use that theme of freedom. Maybe we want to pick a different theme like grounded, calm, joy, delight. Maybe we want to continue the habits from last month. And I always say, like, you don't have to come up with a bunch of brand new habits. If this has been working for you and you've been bringing your habits over month after month after month and it's working and it's really making that habit stick and you're feeling really good as you can tick those off each day, please, by all means, bring those forward, right? And so I always try to tell people, find a balance. So some habits you know you can do and ones that might be trickier to commit to. Remember, you do not have to fill in every line. In fact, if you are new, I would recommend maybe only picking 1 or 2 habits to track for the month. Don't try to come up with a whole bunch of brand new ones. So, oh, and Sarah was asking about the sleep tracker. Like she says, it says August 1st. Are you supposed to track how you slept July 31st into August 1st or how you slept the night of the 1st? So I will tell you, Sarah, it's up to you. The way I do it, just because to me it makes it feel cleaner is, or easier, maybe, I don't know, is just, so on the 1st, I will track how I slept tonight into tomorrow. Right. So that because I will look at my Fitbit and it'll tell me how I slept and those kinds of things. So, but again, it's totally up to you. If you want to track it the other way, you can totally track it that way. So here's some things that folks have done in the habit tracker, different things that they have tracked. Flossing, right? Or maybe brushing your teeth or making sure you got into the shower, or here are some other examples of things maybe that spending some time decluttering or laughing. Maybe you want to make sure that you ask yourself, does this habit still serve me, or am I blindly following an old routine? Maybe there's something you want to change, right? Here's some more examples. I appreciate the person who they put eek, COVID got me, right, on those 4 days, kind of indicating like I didn't actually get to fill anything in for this, right? This kind of looked a little bit different. And then the one with the really pretty colors, the little hearts that they use to track looks very beautiful. Jennifer and I were wondering if those pins bled through to the other side. I'm not sure what that looked like, but and then again, different things to track. Some people will ask, what's the difference between the monthly habits versus the weekly habits? So this wheel really are things you want to track every single day, things you maybe want to do every day. But you could always, some people black out the weekends, right? So again, kind of up to you. Here's some other examples of things that folks have done. I love somebody had a freedom sticker, so they popped that in there. So that worked great. Love that idea. And again, these are just some things from some different chats that people have talked about. Tracking the same habit for 7 months, use it more for accountability. For example, one of them is to check in with my daughter. I don't need to do it every day she's grown, but it's good for me to use and see how often I do it, or I'll see it. And if it's been a few days, I make sure to send a text to check in. One person did a celebration tracker. You can see as I celebrate my body and then they listed those things in there. One person made a junk food tracker so they could actually track and have that there. right? So different ways to kind of take a look at that. Oops. So different ways to kind of track, different things to kind of track for these habits. So let us know if you'd like in the chat what kinds of habits you are going to be tracking. I always put Duolingo because I do the Duolingo Spanish. I think I'm on 1,200-day streak or something like that. So I like to put that in there so I can check that off. So just again, it's kind of up to you what you want to put in here. Feel free to share in the chat. Again, play a little bit of music and then we'll check back in here in just a few minutes and wrap things up. All right. So believe it or not, we are coming to the end of our time together. I don't know how this time goes by so quickly. I kept having to look at the time. I'm like, yes, it has been an hour and almost 15 minutes. We are almost at the end. So thank you all so, so much for joining us. I will make sure to share my playlist in the chat here on Spotify. You're welcome to follow that if you like those songs. Now, most of the songs I played tonight, for any of the socials I do in August, I just kind of throw lots of songs in there so you can kind of see a lot of other songs that I have kind of in my queue. But feel free and please share your planner with us in Sonder Club. We love seeing these. As you can see, we got all of these examples from real life Sonder family members who shared in the app. So we love seeing those. I also want to remind you that there are journal inspiration links that you can click on so you can see lots of other examples. So there's kind of on that homepage where it'll say journal inspiration, you can click see all, and there over on the right hand side you can see all the different, there's mood trackers, there's gratitude logs, There's a Wheel of Life. If you've done one of those before, the Ikigai, which was in July's journal, July's journal, but there's examples of those. A Noticing Nature. The Noticing Natures look a little bit different when we do those, but those are always kind of fun to see, or things people have done with the water droplets. Again, lots and lots and lots of examples of things that could be kind of fun to check out and see what other folks have done. So I do want to just mention, you've probably seen in the email, our fabulous founder Meha had the founder ask of the month talking about our new personalized coaching plan, which is super cool. They send you a text at a time you select each day. It could be each day, or it could be once a week, and has lots of, you kind of fill out some different things in the beginning so it knows like different personality tests, those kinds of things, and you can fill that out. We do have the 50% off the first 3 months with the promo code. Also, if you have any specific questions, or if you're really wondering about if there's anything that we can kind of check with for the price point, you can also email hello@Silk&Sonder, and they can talk to you about that as well. Oops, I went a little too fast. So it does have personalized readings, coaching plans, habits that you can have. It has different affirmations, different meditation things you can do. So it's super, super fun to kind of see. So if you haven't joined that and you're kind of thinking about it, we would love to see you take some time and have fun with that as well. So we still have the refer a friend promotion going, where if they sign up with your link, you get $10, they get $10 to spend. We still have upgrading to an annual subscription. You can save a little bit of money if you are able to pay for it all up front. And you will get all of these links in an email that should come. There's also the feedback survey, where if you have some ideas or things you want to share, you can take a look at that as well. So hopefully everybody is feeling good about jumping into August. You've got lots of things filled out here. You've got lots of ideas, things to go with. So I hope you all have a fabulous month. I will probably see you again. I'm doing a weekly setup on Saturday, I believe. So join us for that, and you can set up that first full week of August. Debbie, I'm glad that it was helpful for you. So glad, Sarah, that you're feeling positive about jumping into August. And we will hopefully see you all again soon. Take care, everyone.